Hi everybody, it's me Alura. Welcome back, and I just want you to know that I am so thankful and so humbled that you're here. If this is your first time coming by my channel, thank you. And if you feel obliged, hit the subscribe button. You totally don't have to, but if you'd like to, it's there. I will have a lot of great content and conversations, in the future, and there's tons of great content in the past. But hey, if not, thanks for coming by anyway. I hope you enjoyed. So, going back to something that I said back in the other video that I did, not the last one, but the one right before that, I had mentioned that when I began doing the videos, it was just from my house. I did it, on break when I was not in school or working. And I would just sit down and just talk about whatever I wanted to talk about at the time, or whatever I was, guided, by the heavens to speak about. And it was just random stuff, just compilations of life, conspiracy theories that weren't so much of a theory, going into soul types, and we talked about, so many different things about spiritual life and even mysticism. And I've tried to do so many different things, with the channel. I even launched the Spiritually Awkward series, a couple of years back, which I really thought, was going to do well, because I was incorporating others into the videos to talk about, things that they learned or their opinion and perspective on different things. But I didn't keep up with it. I wasn't consistent in uploading. I had a lot of things that I was taking care of at the time. So the channel here has always been something that I've used as like a platform or an outlet, but talking, on the videos in the beginning, it was so much easier, It was just like, hey, I'm going to school, I'm doing, work on the side here while going to school and helping other people, doing light work. I'm teaching, really trying to get people to hear this message, to believe in me enough to want to hear the message. I had to prove myself time and time and time again. And that was hard, but I did it, because obviously there are things that, some people just can't do that I do, and I did. But I could talk about anything at any time and just sit down and, put the camera up on the kitchen table or in my room. And I was very at ease, with it at that time. And then there were comments occasionally of people that would say, I can't hear you, or the music is messing up, what you're saying, or they would complain about the pixels in the air. And sometimes, then I would do like a read video, like a word read video. And then they would even complain about that, saying, oh, well, your words are going by too fast. And then I would deliberately slow it down, for the next time. And they would complain that it was still too fast, Another complaint was like little misspellings. I'm sitting there trying to edit these like little read videos, word videos, script videos, whatever you want to call them. And I didn't have a lot of time to do that, but since people just like seem to have nothing but negative things to say about the quality of the videos, I wanted everybody to be happy, so I wanted some videos for them to read from the script, and I wanted others to have videos where they could just talk to me and not care about like any of the other stuff. So I tried a little bit of both styles throughout time, and people would complain, oh, you know how to spell? And I'm like, yeah, I know how to spell, there is something called rushing around to get things done. So my daughter Amber came up with a solution, and like in the video I just did, not the last one but the one before that, I was talking about how it just took so much time away from being able to do videos, having to edit, and that's why it was so inconsistent with the uploads. I used to pop up in the recommendations on the side there, but not anymore, because the videos just didn't keep rolling out. And that was because, she said, hey, you're going to want to have good content. You're going to want it to look nice, audio good. These comments are good comments. They may be negative in a sense, but this is what people look for, Mom. So, let's fix that. So she would take, the video after I would record it, and she would edit it. And then that would take time to edit, and then she would go and render, take time to render, and then it would be like a week later that the video would finally go up. And you know, sometimes the Wi-Fi would slow us down. There would be all kinds of different technical issues, you know, because I'm not really good with, you know, energy or technological devices at all, because I'm higher vibe. And so she would do it. And even then, it just seemed like with me even being around, it still caused interference. So those videos didn't get up till about a week or more later, and it got frustrating. It was like, I want to talk to these people. I want to connect with them. I want them to not just read my blogs or hear my voice in the readings. I want them to see me face to face, like in a way, so that they can know me, you know my moods, my personality. So I just kind of gave up on the videos for a little bit, and you know, I started to see a decrease in the views anyway, and that was a little discouraging. It wasn't enough to ever stop me, but it was enough to make me stop and say, hey, wait a minute, you know, what's happening here? And that's when I had to go back into like my earlier childhood and think, like, why did the heavens tell me I was going to have problems? Like, what were some of the reasons for that? And then, you know, I would recall. So one of the reasons was that, you know, I was going to have censorship. So it was something I should have expected, and I think I kind of always did, because I did talk about it a little bit earlier on when I started uploading. But when it actually started happening, you know, I did kind of question why. There are other people. There are other people out there talking about similar things, you know, world issues, world predictions. Some of them may not be right, but they're talking about it, right? Conspiracy theorists, these doomsday prophet videos. Some of them are even like just reporting news that relates to doomsday, but they get thousands and thousands of views. And I'm just humbly talking about my spiritual life, and I'm getting, you know, muted over here, blacklisted or shadow banned or whatever the case may be. So I'm back, and I love you all so much. I'm going to start just throwing these videos up there again. Like I said, I don't care anymore, you know. I really wanted the content to be great, but I need to be able to connect with people, and I can't allow something such as editing, you know, to keep me from doing that. I have to just be able to say, okay, I got a couple of minutes, let's roll, and throw the video up on YouTube and talk to everyone out there who wants to get to know me and wants to know more information about things that are passionate to them, or things that are, you know, extremely spiritual and deep, coming from me as a spiritual teacher. So with all the ideas that I've shifted around there throughout time, you know, Spiritually Awkward was definitely the last project that I really tried. And, you know, we had a lot of great people that came as a guest, you know, on that upload. There were friends from Facebook, my best friend, even my daughter had joined me one time, but I wasn't as invested, you know. I really didn't keep up with it again, like I said, and so we didn't see, you know, that grow very much. So I was thinking of doing something new again, and I thought, you know what, why do I have to have like a name to this? Why do I have to title it? Why don't I just do whatever the heck I want to? It's my channel. If people want to watch, they'll watch. If they don't, they won't, you know, and I'm not going to be sore about that, you know. This is YouTube, you know. But with that being said, I wanted to do a Q&A, and I have done Q&As in the past, and I would like to start with that. But you may see me in this outfit a couple more times after this, because I'm just going to keep doing a couple of different videos after this one. So that I have a couple to upload just in case I get super busy, and also because it's like really great topics and I can't fit them all into one sitting, and while I'm thinking about it, I want to get that information out there. So let's start with the Q&A, okay? So we have a couple of different people, and I don't want to sit here with the laptop open and the glow in my face, and then I feel drained because of the energy of the laptop. So I wrote them down as I usually do. And these are good questions too that I really, you know, had to pick from a lot of them that come in. I spend like a couple of hours a day in the morning, really going through a lot of questions and getting back to people. But some of them I just saved for, the sake of this video here, and a couple for future ones too. And if you have questions, email me. Email me with your questions. I will do the best that I can to answer them for you. I want you to feel as though you have guidance, All right, so let's start with the very first one here. And this was from Doug, and he was from Edmonton, Canada. And his question, sorry, I'll just read you the email. It says, "Hi, Alura. You do so many jobs in spirituality. While some are just psychics out there, some are just teachers, and others are just coaches. So what jobs are your favorite out of what you do? Why? And what are the hardest things that you face in it?" Okay, so thank you for submitting this question. Let's see. What are my favorite jobs out of the ones that I do? Well, I'd have to say that I really love teaching. That's definitely one of my favorite things, because I am just like a library of universal knowledge. Like, I know so much information about so many different worlds and realities and their spiritual beliefs and perspectives, and then here in this reality, and different things about history and about the soul and about spirit in general, that I could just teach and teach and teach, and also going into a lot of material that is on earth here. I can just tear it into pieces, decoding and deciphering it on a higher level, that people, are just going to spiral even further down the rabbit hole, which is what illumination teachings do, and that's what I do. When you get into illumination teachings, you're answering a lot of questions, but the information is so deep that it leaves your students with even more questions, and then you teach more and then even more questions, because they're spiraling down that tunnel of truth, And it seems like there's no end, because there's so many things, and there are so many different forms of information that are hidden. So that's one of my favorite things to do. Also, I really love coaching people as well. Many people probably think I like doing the readings the most. I do, but I feel like over the years I've become more like a psychic machine with all of the reading requests coming in. And to me, like, I never wanted to overuse my gift that way. I wanted to use it to help people that really wanted it. I wanted to use it to channel from above for information about what was going to happen that people needed to be prepared about. I wanted to use it to channel knowledge, from the higher planes during my teachings live. But no, the readings are not my favorite things unless I'm doing them that way. But as far as like having a bunch of orders come in on the website, I love helping people, but some people just come for entertainment purposes. And while that's okay, I take this very, very seriously. And to me, some of them will order like 8 readings just because they're bored, and, they may not even really believe in it, but they have an interest in it. And they don't understand me as an oracle, what an oracle is. They don't understand my method of reading or how I present the information. So it gets, very exhausting when they come back and they're asking me questions, comparing me to how other readers do things, and not realizing, like, I'm not just a reader, I'm an oracle, and I'm an illumination teacher. And because I do have knowledge and wisdom from higher planes and vision, that expands into so many different dimensions, I'm not going to be like everybody else. I'm here to guide, and I'm working with your guides that are coming from that higher dimensional place. And because of that, they're going to give you information that sometimes you don't want to hear. Some of it you may not even realize because it's subconscious, and there may be other things too, that they put into riddles or parables that, you yourself have to kind of figure out, but the answer is there. They are giving it, but they want that moment of realization to come to you so that it's more profound than just receiving the answer directly. You have that aha moment, like, oh wow, that's what that meant. And then it means something more, than me just, coming to you telling you, hey, your spiritual guide said this. So there are a lot of misconceptions, but I do love teaching and I do love coaching. When I coach people and they come back and they say, Alura, you have changed my life, You know, everything is so much better in my life, my relationships, my family. I'm, you know, doing something great with my life, my career. I'm finally happy. You know, when they say that, that is the biggest reward that I could ever receive being here on this planet at this time. So what are some of the hardest things that I face? Well, like I said, people not understanding what an oracle really is. You know, there's so many people out there claiming to be an oracle, and they just like read tarot cards, or, you know, they do a little bit of spell casting. Whatever the case is, that's not what an oracle is or what they do. So they get the wrong idea from the beginning, just from, you know, others out there that are misusing the term. So that's difficult in having to try to explain and help them to understand. Another thing is that, like, negativity being projected at me is a huge thing. I don't get a lot of it. I have so many positive, like, responses and people from the readings. Like, they're so on point, you know, even without a picture or a detail. I tell people things that blow their mind. But at the same time, there are a few that have just attacked me, you know, when something wasn't going their way or wasn't working out for them. And, you know, they would just take it out on me, you know, like they would take it out at their relative if they were sitting there in front of them, just because they're not using self-awareness to say, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't react this way. It's going to be hurtful to the other person. No, they let their emotions just consume them, and then they just go for it. They don't care who they hurt. And so in the small handful of people that have done that, it really hurts us if it was a great crowd, you know, because I'm super sensitive. So to me, that was probably one of the hardest things, you know, that I've had to come to face in this line of work. I don't mind answering questions. I don't mind spending time with people, additional time, helping them. But when someone comes and they attack me, or they're projecting negativity at me directly, you know, that is something that really, it breaks my heart, makes me cry. And I even have to shut down, you know, work, because I can't have that hurt, that heartbreak energy, as it feels like a broken heart when somebody's mean to me. You know, I can't have that lingering while I'm trying to help others. You know, I have to have that positive mindset. So I've always wondered too, you know, if this person that's attacking me, you know, regardless of who it is out of those people, has come to me for many years, or even for a year, or just several months, if they stayed around that long, you know, it has always come to my mind to say, well, if they've stayed around that long, then obviously they believe in me and they trust in my skills, or they wouldn't keep coming back. And if that's the case, then they know that I'm a divine being. I am pure and innocent, and I've never, you know, stepped out of character. So I've always proven true to the loving, accepting, virtuous person that I present myself to be. I've proven my skills time and time again. So why do they feel they can disrespect me that way? You know, if an angelic came from the heavens in their spirit body form right in front of them, and they were having a bad day, you know, would they rage out on them? No, they would show respect and kindness. Well, I expect the same thing. If not as an angelic, at least as a loving, helpful, compassionate human being that I am, that I have been to, you know, those people that have been very negative. For people that don't know me or haven't worked with me, I do feel like projecting negativity is really stupid. You know, why not just give me a chance? Or ignore me altogether? You know, why even bother coming and just sending in some negative email if you don't even know anything about me? You just have something to say, you form an opinion based on surface things that you've read, and you didn't like it, so at that moment you just kind of say, I'm gonna email this lady, and start telling me off, you know. So if you didn't like it, then move along. You know, that's all I gotta say. You don't have to let it get to you. I mean, everybody's entitled to their spiritual beliefs and opinions, and if it doesn't agree with yours, or you don't agree with mine, then just keep it moving. You know, let there be peace. But some people just aren't like that. You know, they want to attack you for something they didn't like, or something they don't agree with. So those are some difficult things for sure. And the censorship, you know, that has also been an ongoing issue. But we'll leave that for another conversation. So the next question comes from Janelle in Bergen County, New Jersey. And she says, what are some of the things that people like me who are of a starseed origin need to be aware of in life. Okay, so as a starseed, and I will do like another video kind of expanding on this subject because this is a great question. There's so much information. Sadly, I can't fit it into here because we're already running through when it comes to time. But what you need to be aware of is the fact that coming from a higher dimensional place, which starseeds and angelics are, you're coming into a lower vibrational field. So your avatar is supposed to be working with a higher self, and even if you're not, you're still connected, etherically, and your higher self knows what it's like to be in a better place, knows what it's like to see kinder beings, more love, more understanding, more harmony. And being here and being so sensitive, because this vibration is very dense, you're going to experience things such as, feeling anxiety, depression. You're going to get hurt very, very easily by people. And, life isn't really going to be so exciting for you here. You'll try some things and that'll be it. You would much rather, be kind of on your own, in your own intellectual, spiritual space, rather than out there doing what most other people do. And that's just because of the nature of your soul. You're otherworldly. So this world, it's going to be very different, and it's going to seem very cruel, very harsh to you at times. And that may bring your vibration down. It may make you emotional. You have to try to learn to transcend that. I teach that. I want to help people. That's why I reached out to the Starseed people through my videos, because there is a way to cope with it. There is a way to ascend and awaken and really combine your duality in a way that you reach enlightenment, so that lower densities don't bother you in that way so much, and you can actually get the most out of your journey, no matter what type of situation you're in, what you have or don't have, where you live, or who supports you or who doesn't. And that happiness that you get from that type of completion is what you were entitled to all along and lost. Never got the chance to have that. So that right there is something that I've always wanted to help people have their own paradise and their own heaven here on earth while they're on earth, and to get the most out of the experience in their perception while being here. That's what's most important, what you're learning and how you're perceiving what you're learning, and how that affects your life and what you do with it. So that's something to be aware of. You're going to feel those moments, and that in itself, it doesn't take away from, even when you reach enlightenment, you are still going to feel some anxiety and some depression while you're here still. You are still here. You're still having an experience, and things will hurt your feelings because you come from a better place originally up there in higher planes, which that's what they are. They're higher, so that means that the negative things don't exist there, and coming here, it's just going to be, very traumatizing. So you need to have some tools to work through that, and having them doesn't get rid of it totally, but it helps. So the next question, because we are running out of time, is from Sarita, Westfield, Indiana. She writes, "Hello, I love your blogs and videos, been following for years. In reading your personal entries, I always wondered what's the hardest thing about your personal life for you. Knowing you as a pure person, living in a path of virtue, as you say, does anything," she said the P word, "does anything tick you off? How do you handle stress?" Well, thank you for sending in your question. I would have to say that I don't get ticked off. I think that, like I just said a couple minutes ago in regards to the starseed question, I think that I get hurt, and that's because of where I come from. When I see things in my own personal life that I know, being involved in it personally, that I could improve or help make it better, and for some reason it's not happening because there's a lack of cooperation, that hurts. It's like, why can't you hear what I'm saying? Why can't you hear a better solution? If you open your heart and just give me a chance to talk to you and explain a little bit better, you don't have to take my advice, but at least listen, at least listen. And a lot of times there will be people in your personal life that don't, because they're closed-minded. A lot of people are still living with the ego, and they are very, very focused upon themselves. So they don't want to listen. They want to just see it how they see it, and they'll argue the point with you instead of just having a two-way conversation about their feelings and their view and your feelings and your view. And so if people in my personal life would just stop and listen more, because they do listen, especially my immediate family. I'm talking about like extendedly, personal friends, and even the few relatives that I have extended. If they would have taken my advice, I think that a lot of things in their lives would have improved, and that would have improved a lot of things for everybody, because you're interlocked into that collective. But it hurts. It hurts when they don't want to hear you out. Another thing that hurts is when you're talking and they are so low in vibration, God bless them. They're so low in vibration, so focused on worldly things, that when you start talking about those higher vibrational things, and I'm not just talking about yoga or soul types, I'm talking about like going into the depth of the depth when you're talking to them. And I know a lot of people will even bring up just basic spirituality and have this happen, but for me, like, I'm going deep, and it's a depth that the person listening knows is true. They can feel it. They can feel that it's the truth, but they will just utterly shut down. They'll go into like a stare and just be totally somewhere else. And then as soon as you're done talking, they'll turn around and say, "Oh, hey, did you hear what happened to me the other day?" And I'm thinking, did you hear anything that I just said? Like, I just expressed my deepest soulful thoughts to you, and you just went totally blank, And I understand why. It's because their consciousness can't handle higher vibrational things. A lot of people can't. Like, even people that enter my courses, they're all like, yeah, I'm going to learn a lot of stuff that Alura knows. I'm going to become illuminated. I can handle this. I bet it's not even, that deep. And then they come in there and then they're like, whoa, like, I can't handle this information. It's ruined my life, because now, my mind can't like wrap around it, and, I can't even see life the same way. So a lot of them will also shut down during listening to the lessons. They get tired, sleepy, nod out, and that's because they can't process the higher frequency yet. So it's like that in like everyday life when I'm talking to somebody, and that hurts. And it also hurts that they can't think of anybody else but themselves. And yet I do understand, I do. I see it from their perspective. I know as an angelic that it's because they're going through a lot of things that, a lot of people under so much stress can't handle, so it just consumes them. Also, I know that they're taught to be self-centered. So I'm very forgiving, but it hurts. I do walk away with the hurt. Another thing, and I will talk about this too in another video, is that I really feel hurt when others treat me like I'm like every other type of person. They expect me to get mad at the same things that other people would get mad at them for. Are you mad? No, why would I be mad? Well, because you should be mad. But I'm not, I'm not mad. Or, for an example, guys that are very, very insecure will accuse their significant other of like cheating, or talking to somebody else because they're insecure. But when I was in my relationship with Adri's dad, he would just accuse me, out of nowhere for no reason at all, knowing that I'm not even that type of a person, and I'm telling him, hey, stop treating me like I'm like every other girl out there in the world that has the potential to cheat on their boyfriend, or like every other girl in the world that would hurt somebody that way. I would never hurt somebody that way. I don't even lust, so you don't have to worry about me even checking anybody out, to even get to the point of having the potential to cheat. My mind is pure, my mind is clear. If I am connecting with someone in a partnership then I'm going to be loyal as I am to my students, to my family, and to my friends, and to the heavens even. There's no partiality. And I think the other thing too is that it's really hard to have people in my life divide my time, because as an angel, they all want my attention. They want the love, they want insight, they want someone to be there for them, or they want to tell me something and see that I'm proud, because they're all working on themselves. And they'll all be in the same room, and it'll be like my children, mom, mom, and then my own mother will say, Allie, and then a visitor will say, hey, Allie, over here. When Adri's dad comes, he'll be like, hey, Alura, I want to talk to you. And then it's all happening at the same time, with the pets down at my feet. And then you have, my little one too, like, pulling on my dress saying, oh, mama, mama, mama. And it's all at once, because they really want that attention. And it's the same way with some of my students. It really is. They want a lot of attention from me because they're lonely, and they need that support. They need that unconditional love that only I can bring. So I can't really divide myself into so many places at once. I have to try to be there for a couple people at one time, a couple more people at another time. And that's the way that I can balance. It should be just, this person at one time, that person another time. But unfortunately, Earth time doesn't give me enough time to be one-on-one anymore. So I have to, incorporate them into groups of people. And some of them want, one-on-one time with me, and I just can't do it. I just can't do it. So time is very frustrating. And people needing the attention, that is something also, that hurts me, that I can't give it to them. Sometimes it does get a little overwhelming with everyone calling out to me, and then, just feeling like I can't be there for them the way that I want to. And I think that, if you ask me one thing that really gets me upset out of it all, it goes back to the one thing I was talking about people just taking their crud out on me when they're having, a hardship. Be loving. I've always been loving. You may not have always agreed with me, maybe, but I've always showed love, so I expect the same in return, because it is just downright hurtful, if not. The other thing that is something that I have to say, is just all time something that I just never liked about Earth, is that, besides the immorality and the hurtful nature that humans project, I don't like when somebody tries to lie to me and they can't. I know that they're lying. Even people that have come with fake profiles and fake reading requests to try to test me out. I'm not playing your games. You bought the reading for this fake picture. All right, I'll do the reading on your fake picture then, okay? I will let you know I sense some other energy. I've stopped even doing that because I just got tired of it. It doesn't happen a lot, but it has happened throughout time, if you add it all together. So even with people in my own personal life, they'll sit there and say something, and then they'll try to say, I'll say, hey, you're lying. No, I'm not. And I'm like, yeah, you are. I can clearly see that you are. And they'll still keep up with the charade. It's like, stop it. You know that I know. You know that I know. So please. That's frustrating. And people, I talk about this all the time. I think people are sick of hearing it. People that try to steal my identity. That is I don't understand it. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. I've had this happen so many times in my life. Oh my goodness. Even just in personal friends that I've had, they've dyed their hair blonde. One time I had a couple of different piercings that I was experimenting with. They went out and not only dyed their hair blonde, but got all the piercings, started dressing just like me. One time I had this girl at my house, and she actually, saw my wardrobe, and she dyed her hair blonde, and I'm walking down the street in this dress with my hair up and a little flower on the side, and it's my little signature mark. And I look, and she's across the other side of the street. We were waiting for our kids to get out of school. They went to the same school. And I'm looking at her, and I'm looking at myself, and I'm like, what in the world? She's wearing the same exact outfit, the same exact hairstyle, hair color. It was like a mirror. It was creepy. So I'm like, what is going on? So I channeled into it, And, of course, that there's definitely something, going on with an individual that would go to that extent of replication on a personal level. But there are people that do it to me online because they think that, channeling my look, my energy is going to help them to gain views or gain followers. But some just really obsess about it. And I have had this happen, like I said, with friends. I've had it happen with followers. And it just really baffles me. It really does. It's like, you can't be me and I can't be you. All that we can be is ourselves, and to love and appreciate ourselves. And it's okay to be original and to love and appreciate your originality. And I've always been original. I always have. So that's something that's always kind of gotten me a little worked up inside. It makes me nervous. It makes me upset. I feel bad for that person that they have to go to that extent. For those that do it deliberately for ego and for gain, that's definitely something that, upsets me too, because it's like, come up with your own stuff. Channeling my energy, my look isn't going to help you any more than it's helped me. I have done very well, but there's only one me. I'm one of a kind, and you're one of a kind too. So it's not going to help you to try to be like somebody else, because they're going to say, hey, that was done before, or that look was had before, hey, this reminds me of somebody. Oh yeah, it reminds me of Alura. So it becomes very obvious, and people will see it. I have had people like email me and say, hey, did you see this person, how like they totally shifted and changed into like looking almost just like you and talking like you, and talking about the same subjects that you talk about. And I'm like, yes, I have seen it, and God bless them that they feel the need to do that. I hope that they can heal. But that is something that baffles me. I know that it comes from emotional mental disorders in some cases, and again, just from thinking that they can get something out of it too. Some admire me so much that they begin to hate me, because they look at me and they say, wow, she's perfect. How can she be so perfect? Her life is perfect. She's a perfect parent. She has all this knowledge. All her predictions are always real. And I want to be perfect too. So they try to become competitive instead. Well, she has blonde hair. That'll look better on me. I'll do my hair blonde. I could do this better than her, so I'll talk about that a little bit on the internet. And it becomes a game to them that I'm not playing back, So that's definitely one of the things that definitely gets me upset. But hey, I think we're out of time. Thank you for watching. Next video, manifestation. Thank you. Love you all so very much. And thanks for writing in. Keep sending in the questions, and we'll keep talking about lots of subjects, that you want to know about me personally, about spirituality, about anything. The channel is totally open now. Bye-bye.